If I woke up tomorrow with no business, no clients, no audience, I definitely wouldn't learn to code straight away. And I definitely also wouldn't go and build an app. I'd sign one client in 30 days using nothing but Claude and a laptop, right? Because you don't need a business to start, right? You need one person willing to pay you. Everyone online is chasing the same thing right now, like building an AI app or launching a SaaS tool or raising investment or scaling to millions. Meanwhile, right, most of them have not sold a single thing to a human being, right? And to me, that's backwards, right? A service gives you what a product can't in month one, right? So, for example, cash flow, feedback, real customers, and proof that somebody will actually pay you. So the things that I would run in the first 30 days would be without a team. It'd be no software. There would be no technical background, just literally a laptop and Claude alone. And that is it. And there's one setup in a week, right, that will quietly save you dozens of hours. And it's almost a bit that everyone skips, right? There's also one mistake that kills most of these businesses before they actually even land a client. And I'll show you both on screen today. Now, if you're already running a business doing six figures, like, don't tune out, right? Watch this because I'll install the plan, because honestly, this type of stuff can take you to the next level or even below that if you're a complete startup. This is exactly how I would drop an AI service line and a proper operating system inside of business that you already own. And I know this for a fact because I've literally just built one for my own company and all of my clients in all of my programs in the last 12 months, and it has already changed my life, right? By the end of this, you will have a roadmap, right? You can actually start, right? Not someday, not starting this month, right? One thing before we get into the week, right? But one thing straight away is I want to break this down. I want to break down the build like this so you can follow it every single week. So if you're getting into AI to basically try and run your business and achieve your goals and everything else on that side, I want you to tap subscribe, because I'm going to be dropping 2 or 3 videos on this every single week to make it as easy as humanly possible for you to follow. So now, moving into week one. The biggest lie in the AI space right now is this: to make money with AI, you need to build AI, right? You don't in any way, shape, or form. Businesses don't lie awake wishing someone else would sell them another tool, right? They lie awake wishing someone would take one painful, repetitive job off their plate for good. And that is a completely different game, right? And it's absolutely wide open. A service is not just solving that problem and using whatever gets you there the fastest. And right now, Claude is one of the sharpest tools on the shelf without question. Not because it replaces you, because it multiplies you, right? And the thing that this looks like in real terms is, before AI, one person might be able to serve 5 clients, for example. With Claude carrying the repetitive work in the background and building intelligence and also formatting it around fulfillment, that same person will be able to serve 20, 25, 30, 50. It goes on and on and on. So the ceiling of earning and ceiling potential is much, much greater now. So it's the same skill, same hours, and also just basically just far more output, right, for basically what you're putting into it. And that gap is the whole opportunity. And pretty much nobody's really focusing on it because they're trying to come in too high level too fast. So the place where most people freeze is this: they will wait for the perfect idea before they start. And I want to change your dynamic of thinking on this video today. The perfect idea does not exist, right? Businesses don't start perfect. They get good by solving real problems on repeat. So stop asking, right, what's the best AI for my business, and start asking the question that actually matters. What problem do I already understand? Maybe you've spent years in recruitment, right, or sales or finance or construction, right? And every single one of those worlds is stuffed with so much repetitive admin, messy communication, information that nobody's organized, and just basic level stuff that's going on, right? That's exactly what work that Claude is going to be great at. It's going to eat it for breakfast, right? And you're not inventing a new industry solution. You're literally picking the one that you already know and quietly making it run better. That's far easier business to build without question, and also a far faster one to sell. Week one, I don't build anything, right? I'm not coming in and I'm not trying to build any software or websites, or if I've not even got a logo, for example, I will literally spend the whole week getting obsessed with one singular problem in one singular niche. So look at your own business right now, or look at other people's businesses. And let's just say that you pick accountants or an estate agent or a marketing agency. Claude becomes your research partner, right? And again, easy prompts that you could run would be, what are the best operational frustrations inside of a small accounting firm right now? Which Which repetitive admin tasks waste the most amount of hours per week? Where do these firms quietly use money because the processes become inefficient? Or what complaints keep repeating in their Reddit threads and LinkedIn comments, as an example? So I wanted to pause and screenshot those four, right? And that's your week one research engine set up straight away. Then all you do is you feed that into Claude and you feed that raw material into it. So you've got reviews, forum threads, competitor sites, industry reports, and then basically ask it to find the pattern that keeps coming up. That's the most important part, because your first offer does not come from inspiration, right? It comes from observation, it comes from research, it comes from really understanding something. When you've seen, right, the same frustration 20 times, you're not guessing anymore, right? You've moved from I hope people buy this to people have already told me that this is actually a problem. And that is a completely different starting line. So by the end of week one, you will know two things straight up, right? Who you help and what problem you are trying to solve. And again, think about this from your own business right now as well. Now we turn this into something that people can actually buy. So the trap that people fall into here is that they will try and build an AI and sell an AI, right? Rather than actually just trying to use the AI, because nobody buys AI because it's clever, right? They buy it because the outcome actually delivers on a solution to a problem that they are experiencing. So you never need to come in and be like, right, I sell AI automation, or I sell my own AI, or whatever it may be. You sell, right? We cut your client onboarding from 3 hours to 20 minutes. You sell the Claude implementation plan. You sell the 4 weeks of LinkedIn content done, scheduled, done for you. You don't sell prompts, you don't sell basic stuff. So I sell the Titan Code OS central operating system, and the rationale for that is the main problem that I experience with high-level multi-7, 8-figure, 9-figure startup businesses is the fact that all of their data and all of their information is absolutely all over the place. So I built Titan Code with a central operating system to pull all of that together, where they can actually communicate with it as well, alongside being a step-by-step process to actually build, manage, and scale the company as well, all in one, right? So I'm not coming in, I'm not going, right, I'm selling you AI automation. I'm selling you the solution to the problem, right? And hope that you join and buy it at some point, right? So one version sounds really technical, right? The other sounds like money and time back. That's the biggest difference. You need to sell the solution to people as to what AI can actually do for them. And Claude is brilliant, right, at literally building the offer itself. So you can drop the research in and ask, right, if you were this business owner, what would the ideal solution actually look like? Or you could come in and say, break this service into 3 multiple deliverables that feel premium. Or what objections will come up before someone actually buys this, and how would you actually handle each? Now you're not basically starting at blank, right? You're shaping an offer with a strategist sat next to you. So that's just in week one, right? Then we're coming into week two. This is where people basically torch, right, a fortnight. They will design a logo, build a website, pick brand colors, buy a domain, order business cards for a business that literally has 0 clients, right? I do none of that, right? Because none of it is actually going to make you a penny. I'd be asking one question instead. What is the minimum that I need to look credible enough to actually start a conversation with someone, right? And the honest answer is quite tiny. So it's going to be optimizing a LinkedIn profile or an Instagram profile or a YouTube channel. It could be a 1-page explanation of what you actually do. It could be having a clean proposal generator and a link where people can book a call. Like, it needs to be as simple as that, and then creating content around it. So the whole kit, right? And again, Claude can design and give you every single part of this with your headline, your about section, your FAQs, your proposals, your discovery questions, your answers to objections that you already know is coming up. And all you need to do is just notice what has happened. Right? You did not spend 2 weeks building your business or shaping your business for the sake of not even trying to get any clients. You spent 2 weeks getting ready to have conversations, right? Conversations create clients in any situation, right? There is no part of business where that will not happen, right? Having a fancy logo and design won't. So the starting point from there is to be looking at content, right? So it's not something you start once the business is working. It starts when you literally have the concept and you have something ready to sell to people. And the good news is, right, you don't need to become a full-time creator or hit a follower count in order to sell something. You just need to be consistent, right? And a system will make that a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot cheaper for you as well. So again, the next thing you're moving into from that point is looking at, right, how do I actually create a content engine around Claude to support me with all these areas? So every single week, I will collect all the raw material that I want, the questions that clients are asking, the mistakes that I keep spotting, and then one good conversation potentially, and drop it into Claude and then run these type of prompts to really start analyzing market behavior and feedback. So turn these notes into 10 practical LinkedIn posts in my voice. Also, alongside that, give me some hooks that I could use to starting point on Instagram with reels and carousels. You can pull these free YouTube ideas out of this in terms of how I could do long form content on it. And also from that point, also write an email that teaches a lesson based on what I've basically processed this week. So one conversation or one bit of mining of information becomes 10 pieces of content. And the goal here is not to get famous, it's to get familiar, right? Because people buy from people they already recognize long before the first call. While content slowly builds trust, right? You need conversations from day one, right? That means outreach, right? And the cadence is so simple, right? If you stick to 10 to 20 personalized, make a point personalized, do not just run a abusive chatbot or abusive VA system every single day. It's not good, right? You get 10 personalized messages per day, not thousands, and every single one of them is specific and making an effort. And then basically before you actually message anyone, have Claude do a bit of research on them based on whatever websites that they've got, likely bottlenecks that they probably could have coming up, gaps in the site that they can actually pick up on what Claude can see. And then from that point, you can be looking at running some prompts to have a little bit deeper analytics to really like steal word for word what is going to really impress these prospects that you are actually trying to reach out to. So line one would be I had a proper look at a specific thing that you actually looked at, right? Not a mass message. Line two could be one quick win that I'd make first with this in this area based on what I've processed on your online framework. Then line three would be, would you want to see a live demo or 10-minute version of this, right? So again, like you're not coming in and hard pitching, you're just presenting like a solution, some advice and little tips that you can actually give it to them, right? So the main thing is you're leading with genuine insight and not a sales pitch. That is such a powerful way to use AI, right? To use AI in abusive, high volume, outbound for the sake of it, that's not benefiting your business, right? Businesses are drowning because they are struggling to solve problems and they're struggling to generate sales or struggling to actually adopt to what's actually happening in the market at the moment. So the first impression that you make is really important. And that's why I'd focus on content and I'd focus on personalized outreach. On week number 3, this is basically the setup where most people actually skip this, right? But by this point now, you've spoken to people, you have posted content and you've started outreach and you've started to get a lot of audience feedback. Maybe at this point, you've actually had your first discovery call, right? And winning a client is so exciting. Never let anyone tell you just how exciting it is to get that first client, to have a proof of concept as to what you do. So keeping one, right? This is where it's really important because this is where your business lives, right? And that will come back down to the actual system. So this is a bit that is going to save you a substantial amount of time, right? And then what I did back in the day, 2 years ago, is I basically decided, I was like, right, well, actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to build a specific dedicated project to every single client that I work with. Right. So what I didn't have, right, is I didn't have one giant chat with everything mixed together. I had a separate project for each individual client. And then into each, I pasted this exact block, right? So screenshot it. You are my delivery partner for client name. This is what they sell. This is what they do. This is their audience. This is what they serve. This is their tone of voice. This is how they sound. This is their goals this quarter. This is their goals next quarter, right? These are the main competitors. Here's the competitors list, right? Here are the ongoing tasks that I need you to help me with. Build as a list and always answer in their voice, right? Never ever do it generic. Now, every time that you open a project, Claude already knows the entire whole relationship and also its compounding intelligence as well based on every input. So there's no explaining, there's no cold start. And the first time that I set this up properly, it took a client onboarding from a slow manual slog to literally showing them how to do it in minutes. And that is the difference between feeling like a freelancer and also running a business. And the client will feel this level of consistency and the level of high level output of you directing AI to support them with their assets that they need. Right? They never notice the AI underneath it because they are getting the solution as to what they want. The difference is you can provide them with a 1,000 times better solution because you've actually got AI supporting you in that process, right? And again, this is about getting it set up properly. And this is why I have copy and paste SOPs to have it on a level that people would never be able to understand with Claude project setup structures. But again, like when you're looking at all the proposals you're writing up from scratch or all the onboarding you've had to reinvent and every report that is starting from blank, like it's exhausting. It's so tiring, right? And it's completely and utterly avoidable now with having these systems in play. So I would basically look at using Claude to build out a library, right? So within this library, You could call this your business or your offer or whatever niche that you're in at the moment, your business playbook, for example. So this is where you can start actually creating templates for discovery calls, for proposals, for onboarding, for weekly reports, for follow-up emails, for content briefs, right? And all you do is just keep feeding this project, right? So every single time that you write something good, you can save it and you can show the AI system what basically you would classify as good. Right. And then every single time a client asks a sharp question, right, I'm going to come in, I'm going to save the answer, I'm going to digest it down. So then every time Claude produces something genuinely useful, I can improve it, file it, and it completely improves the system continuously, right? So over time, you're not just collecting clients for the sake of it, like you're building a substantial amount of intellectual property. So that also means that no new clients are starting from zero ever. They're starting from everything that you have already learned. So for example, all of my clients are now connected to my Obsidian Second Brain, which is literally an overview to every single thing I've ever done within AI, every iteration, every single detail. And that is how a business gets easier to run, right, rather than being heavier. So as a quick warning, right, because this is, in my opinion, where most people go wrong with this. Using Claude doesn't mean switching your brain off, right? It means switching it on, because you will actually have to process, read, plan, iterate, and refine a high level output that you've ever done before, right? So the biggest mistake that I see is like outsourcing your thinking. Like, it's not lazy, but it's a mistake to think that you can just completely remove yourself from it, because I don't believe that's how AI should be used. So what I see is, I see a lot of people just getting Claude to randomly reinvent their offer and reinvent the pricing and write a pitch and run the sale, and then wonder why it feels generic and nothing's actually happening, right? So Claude can never ever replace your judgment. It is so important with that. You need to feed it, right? You need to treat it like a very fast analyst who is sat beside you, who has got infinite processing power, infinite intelligence, and the more that you push it, the better that it becomes. It will gather information, it will find patterns, and it will also give you constant suggested options. But the most important part is you decide. So my favorite move, and the one that I'd steal if I was you, like I'd use this exact prompt, it's very basic, but it works a hell of a lot, right? So give me 3 completely different approaches to how you would approach the problem in this situation. For each, tell me the angle, who it suits, and also the main risk, right? Don't pick the favorite, I will. Or you could turn around and say, I'm happy for you to select what you would recommend as a winner, but at the end of the day, I'm going to choose it. So if you want to screenshot that, that's an easy thing that you can use straight away. And I'm not expecting AI to be perfect. And that's a problem that I see a lot of people having. So comparing basically forces me to think clearly on everything that I'm doing. That's why I always use plan mode, even on the Claude app and terminal coding, because I want to see that plan and I want to be confident with that plan before I let it complete the actual task, right? But once that is set up, once you've got the plan, once you've got the iterations, yeah, it can 100% run it all for you, right? And this is what I mean by you need to look at AI like a team member and someone who is actually supporting you, not just delegating and brain dumping your brain into it, and that is it. So in this process, by coming into week 4, the job gets so much simple, right? People keep talking to people, right? You keep sharpening the offer. You keep posting, you keep tightening your systems. But above all, right, you get your first clients, right? And they are getting genuinely remarkable results compared to what we would ever be able to do from a human standpoint before, right? Because it's so important to understand, like, AI is not here to destroy you and beat you. It's here to make you better. So if you can provide a better service to your clients because of using it while still keeping your intuition in there, how much better results are they going to get? What your testimonial is going to look like, what your case study is going to look like, what your referral is going to look like, but most importantly, what does your confidence look like? Scaling doesn't start with 1,000 customers, right? It starts by serving the first 5 well, so they can't shut up about you, right? Use Claude to make delivery smoother, prep every meeting, build the report, spot opportunities that the clients haven't seen yet, and that is what they will remember. They will not remember the fact that you used AI. They will remember that working with you made their business feel lighter, better, more profitable, their life, the physique, or whatever it is that you are running. Now, the mistake, right, that I promised you right at the start, and this is the one that kills most of these businesses before they even ever land a client, and it isn't picking the wrong niche. It's hopping between different areas. What I see is people jumping between code one day, then Tuesday they go into a different tool, then you've got Claude, Wednesday, it's a complete brand new platform. By Thursday, they're rebuilding the website. By Friday, they're suddenly randomly designing the logo and brand packs. And then they wonder why nothing's actually moving, right? It isn't lack of effort, it's lack of direction. AI is a multiplier. Point it in 10 directions and it just helps you get nowhere 10 times faster. So stop asking, what is the newest tool? Start asking, what is the biggest problem that my client still has? Problems don't expire every single week. AI tools do. The second mistake, right? Waiting until you feel like an expert without question. You're not going to be, right? People want progress and someone who genuinely gets their business, right? Claude can handle the execution. You can handle the relationship and the judgment of it. So if you can put more time into being a human being that people genuinely want to speak to and work with, while you have a system in the back end that supports you with all of the execution that you need, right? That combination is worth more than anyone will ever be able to realize, right? So what I want to be honest about right now, right, is this isn't a, right, you're going to make £100,000 in the next 30 days video, right? The goal of month one when doing it right is not to suddenly get rich, right? It's about to get real, right? So the thing that I would basically want you to be looking at by day 30 is all these areas. If you've got a clear niche and you've got a clear offer, if you've got a LinkedIn profile, Instagram profile that says exactly what you do, you've got a Claude project for the clients that you're currently working with right now and everything loaded into, you have got sales or proposal templates and repeatable processes documented, you've got a really easy and simple content engine and outreach that's going out every single day, a handful of discovery calls coming in, like maybe your first client or even maybe a second, right? Maybe not there yet. That's absolutely fine. But that's all you need to do, because momentum will beat motivation every day of the week, right? And once you've spoken to these real prospects and you've done all of this work with them, the whole thing gets so much easier for both you and them as well, because you're not guessing anymore, right? You're building from evidence. So notice the thing, right, across all the 30 days, right? Claude wasn't a single step. It ran through each stage. So we went through research, into an offer, into content, into sales prep, into onboarding, into delivery. And eventually, right, it gets to a point with more information going into it that it's actually improving the business itself. And that's why I've stopped thinking of AI like a chatbot, right? That's why I've stopped thinking about AI like a chatbot, right? It's so much more like an operating system. And that's the vision that I had 12 months ago when I said, actually, I can program this to be able to support businesses at all level who have got attachment to the level of intelligence that I use as an easy step-by-step process, right? That there would have been impossible before. What I have created with the Titan Code OS and Titanium, it would have been impossible. But what you need to understand is depth will be novelty every day of the week. The business winning with AI are not using more high-level technology and software. They are using one or two tools exceptionally well for the first 30 days. That is it. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to pick one problem you already understand. I want you to build an offer around the outcome and then let Claude run the admin behind it and execution of it. Don't try and build an empire on day one. Build one simple service that will genuinely help people or genuinely help your business, because that first service will teach you everything that you need to know about how to sell, how to deliver, and also how to think. If that gave you a plan, for example, right, and you could start on Monday, right, do one thing for me, right? If this video's been valuable to you, drop me a subscribe, right? Because I'm landing literally videos like this every single week, step-by-step processes and all these different systems to make it as easy as possible for you. And while you're doing that, right, if you're in a spot right now where you're like, I've got a little bit more confidence, I'm ready to put 2 feet into this and really understand how it's going to change my life and my business, like it has done for me and hundreds of people that I work with, yeah, subscribe to the channel. But maybe you might need a little bit more support with this. And if you go to the description in my actual episode at the bottom, you'll see a page which has got information on everything to do with Titan Code OS, a little video that you can watch to check me out and also see that I'm the same person on YouTube as I am on my websites. And I would love for you to actually think about booking a call. Like, we don't do high pitches in any way, shape or form. We'll run a diagnostic as to where you are right now, where you want to go, and then we'll step by step break down and see if we can actually help you. So I hope to see you on the next video.